Northern Cali born and raised, real shark about that tank. We go hard up in the paint and spin them blocks, they say we can't. Talking all that tough shit, don't end up in a casket. Glock up on my hip, be the only thing that's plastic. Hit him in the belly, guarantee that boy gon' fall. It don't matter who you body, you still a rat.
What's cracking with the hint there on YouTube, man? Thank you guys for tapping back in, showing love, showing support, all that good stuff. Don't forget to hit that like button, leave a comment down under, subscribe if you haven't already. And as you guys can see through the title and the thumbnail, man, today's topic is a topic that I have not touched on as of yet until today. Obviously, San Jose is more prevalent to be raza. You know, there's more raza in San Jose. It's different now. Nowadays, it's more, I guess you can say, well, yeah, it's definitely gentrified. There's a lot more whites, Asians, blacks. But when I was growing up, I felt like I would only see Mexicans, especially on the east side, and which is where I grew up. So it's kind of all I really know. But so yeah, so the Bloods and the Crips, right? I will say this right now before the Crips, you know what I'm saying, have to say it, or before a Northerner or a homie has to say it in my comments. Bloods were never really prevalent in the city of San Jose. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was about to say San Jose, but I caught myself. I said San Jose. But, so, they did have one neighborhood, one established neighborhood that I know of that I'm pretty sure is the only neighborhood that was really established. I'm sure there was, like, little cliques and stuff around the city. But the one hood in San Jose that was actually established by the Bloods was over by Mount Pleasant, which MP hood. Moss Point, to be exact. MP hood was the only Blood neighborhood that I ever really heard of, that I ever knew, and maybe it's just because I grew up around that area. So, and this is not to downplay them or nothing like that, but I never really saw them. The Bloods, I never really seen them, even though that was their section. I feel like the Bloods were really tight with the Norteños, because obviously Mount Pleasant, the high school, that's a Norteño school straight up. That area is all, you know what I'm saying? There's like 4 or 5 different Norteño neighborhoods just in that area, Story and White, going up towards Mount Pleasant, all that. It's like, that's like all red right there. It's, you know what I'm saying? But, like I said, yes, that area was, you know what I'm saying, like I said, BRS, Barrio East Side, Eastbound Locals, V95, and then, you know what I'm saying, you got MP Hood right there. So MP Hood, the Bloods were really tight with the Northerners. They never, that I know of at least, and from what I was told, they never had issues. The Bloods and the Northerners never had issues with sharing that area. But again, I never had, like, I don't think I ever had a single run-in with anybody from MP Hood as far as the Bloods go. The Northerners, of course, that was almost daily. Not even trying to sound like nothing. That was just, it is what it is. I went to school there my whole life, so, you know what I'm saying, I had run-ins with the Northerners all the time. And there was times where the Northerners would go to certain, you know, to the campus or whatever schools I was at, and there would be maybe 1 or 2 brothers right there, the Bloods, but at the same time, they were cool with the Crips. The Northerners were cool with the Crips. So the Northerners really never got into the whole like Bloods and Crips thing. That was its own thing. That was, you know what I'm saying, that's their business basically. When it comes to the Crips though, the Crips are more sprinkled around the city. They definitely have a more they definitely had a bigger impact on the city. And I guess you could say that the Crips were very, they were hand in hand with the Northerners. Anytime I ever seen blacks with Northerners, like 90% of the time, if it wasn't an MP hood, they were obviously Crips from Foxdale, you know what I'm saying, the SOS, 7 Trees, things like that, you know, 4-7s, all that. Now, obviously, as of more recently, the Crips and the Northerners do not see eye to eye. We know this for a fact. Well, for the most part, I have heard that certain Crips don't partake in that. So that I'm gonna leave that alone though. You know what I'm saying? That's its own thing. I'm gonna leave that to them. But like I said, growing up, the Crips and the Northerners were really tight. There's even music videos. I forgot what the song. There's this one rapper. Rest in peace to him. I actually met him. Solid dude. He's from SOS. Cuddy Banks. Again, rest in peace. He was from Foxdale. Sorry about that. And there's a music video. There might be a couple music videos, but I'm thinking about one music video where you see a bunch of Crips, and then you see a few Northerners. One Northerner I actually got into with. But yeah. So one of the Northerners that was there, uh, I obviously, like I said, I got into it with them or whatnot. And I remember when I saw that video, I was like, oh, so these fools are cool. That's why the blacks are always mugging, like when the homies are, certain things. But like I said, as of lately, it's very different. Very, very different. I just seen some, and I know they were from SOS because they were Samoan. But I was at the liquor, the Tropicana liquor at Colmar, and there was I think 2 or 3 Samoans. You know what I'm saying? And it was crazy because these dudes were like blue ragged up. You know what I'm saying? Like just straight loped out. And like one of the dudes looked at me and I was like, oh. And one of the dudes had a big old ass, like the Seattle. What's the team? It's a baseball team, the Seattle, the S. You know what I'm talking about? He had like the big old ass on his on the side of his face. That's the first thing I noticed. And I was like, damn, I wonder if these was gonna trip on me right now. Because like I said, I never really had run-ins with the Crips like that, except for I am gonna mention one story that I have with the Crip. But as far as like other Crips, I never really had run-ins with them like that. So I was like, I wanted to some trip. And the other he didn't really say anything to do with the ass because he didn't really see me. But as they were paying walking out, one of the dudes looked at me and he was like, "What's up, homie?" or what's, I forgot what he said or something like that. But just it was in a respectful way. So respectfully, I was like, "What up, Oos?" and kept it pushing. You know what I'm saying? That was it. But again, no issues, no nothing, and obviously I dressed the way I dressed. Obviously they knew what I was, so I took it as all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? Like everything's good. But now the Crips, again, they're sprinkled around the city. It's not very, well, not now. Nowadays it's a lot more common. There's a lot more Crips in San Jose. But growing up, I didn't really hear of them or see them too often. And again, I don't say that to downplay them. It's just since it wasn't my business, maybe I just didn't pay attention enough to notice them, but I never really had a run-in with them. But I had one, I don't even want to call it a run-in, because this Crip, I grew up with this dude since middle school, right? In middle school, he was one of the Crips that he was not rocking with Southsiders at all. He was cool with the Northerners, so he was like, F these S words, whoop de whoop. He even got down with one of my homies, as a matter of fact. One of my homies got down with him outside of a classroom, and it was hella funny because the teacher that, like, the classroom that they fought outside of, the teacher, I don't know if he still works there, so I'm not gonna say his name. I don't want to get him in trouble, but the teacher walked out and seen like what was going on, and he basically, well, no, not basically, he literally told us like, hey, like, take that shit somewhere else. And you know what I'm saying? It was what it was. But yeah, man, so but this Crip, right? We kind of would not, we wouldn't even talk reckless to each other because we didn't really have no classes together. I never had run-ins with him like that, but he got down with my homies, so he was like super anti-Southsider, straight up. He did not like us. And then when I fast forward to high school, I got kicked out of my first high school the first month that I was in that high school because of an incident that I may speak on one day. Don't know about the statute of limitations though, so I'm gonna, actually, it was in school grounds. I would have got locked up if it was that bad. But so basically, I tried to poke a Northerner because he had poked one of my homies the day prior. Whatever. Fast forward. I'm not gonna get into all that right now. But again, I'll make a video about it if you guys want to hear about it. So when that happened, I got kicked out of that high school. I got sent to Mexico, went to school in Mexico for I don't know how long, maybe a month or two. I don't even remember exactly how long it was. I was like a freshman, whatever. Go to school out there. My parents realized from my family out there in Mexico that I wasn't doing good out there, so they brought me back to San Jose. So they enrolled me into a school called Summit. Summit was on Story Road, literally right off of Story Road where National Hispanic University is. And I end up seeing that Crip. He's going there. And he notices me. He goes, hey, what's up, fool? What you woo? Like, he's showing hella love. And I'm not going to lie. When I seen him, I was like, oh, this was probably going to want to do something, whatever. I was like, whatever, I ain't tripping. I was on my super high power tip at the time because I had just got back from Mexico. And obviously, Mexico's a completely different ball game. So I thought I was hard. I'm not gonna lie. So I was like, whatever. Let's let's do what we do. But again, he was like, oh, what's cracking, fool? This and that. Like we were chopping it up. Everything was cool. So me and him, we became tight. I'm talking about like he was my boy. And so I think I'm not sure if I mentioned this in one of my videos. I'm pretty sure I did. I hope I did. But if not, I'll say the little story. So it was after school one day, months into me being at that school, because I was only at that school for a year before I got kicked out as well. And the only reason I stayed that long is because I was dating some chick and she was cool. She was a good girl. I never been into cholas, so whatever. I was at that school. Everything was cool. There was no homies at that school. There was no Northerners. I think I might have. I feel like I mentioned this, but the Northerners and the Southerners would play handball together, and they were not really homies like that. They weren't Northerners and they weren't homies. They were just kind of like little wannabes, I guess. So I never kicked it with them. So one day after school, there's some dudes from BRS. They go to that school. That BRS is literally down the street from that school. So they went to that school and they checked one dude in the front of the school, and he supposedly was a homie. You know what I mean? They hit him up. He laid the flag down. He was like, nah, I don't bang. And so they walk over to me. Obviously, I still dress the way I dress. Dickies, slick back, Pendletons, all that good stuff all the time. If you know me, I was rocking Pendletons all the time. So, whatever, I get hit up, right? And I'm with my girl at the time. So, the dude goes, hey, what's up? You a S-word? You was scrap. He asked me, he said, you a scrap? And obviously, me not thinking about my girl, me not thinking about none of that, I started to get rowdy, like, what? Whoop-de-whoop, back and forth, whatever. And I don't even remember how, but we ended up towards the sidewalk. This was like in the very front of the school. We got towards the sidewalk, and I'm not gonna lie to you, these dudes started bombing on me. I'm talking about like these dudes started, like they took off on me. I'm not gonna lie to you, they took off on me, and out of nowhere, I just hear boom, boom, N-word this, N-word that, and I'm like, what the hell? And I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm getting whooped on. You know what I'm saying? And then I kind of see like my peripheral vision, and it's the Crip. The Crip's like he's going ham. This dude is like, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna lie to you and say he whooped all, because it was like 5 of them, 4 or 5 of them. I can't remember exactly, but he ended up doing his thing enough to where I was able to get up, but I was already like I was done for. Like I remember I got up and like my mouth was all bloody and all kinds of stuff. I still had to walk home after that too, by the way. But so the Crip, like he held it down, man. He hooked it up. He he got into it with those dudes for me. Obviously when whatever, they started getting on him more than me, so I got up, tried to help him, and then me and the Crip ended up both getting our asses handed too. But it was funny because obviously the cops were called, all that stuff. We obviously, no cases were filed or nothing. We didn't say anything. But we were laughing. Me and the Crip were laughing in the office. And he ended up getting kicked out for that. I didn't, but he ended up getting kicked out. Because it was, the whole thing was on camera, by the way. Everything was on camera. But yeah, man, that dude. And then later on in life, I ended up finding out that he caught a hot one in San Francisco. And I was like, man, like I even asked, because he had like I think he had like a stepsister or something that went to that high school. And I looked her up. And I asked for his information, but I think that was like her old Facebook, because she never got back to me. But hey, man, wherever that dude is at, I send my love and my respect. If he ever hears this, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, if he hears this, he's gonna know that it's for him. I'm not gonna throw his name out there, but yeah, man. So that was one solid ass Crip that that dude, like I said, forever. That dude I'm gonna have love for that fool, straight up. But yeah, man. So with that being said, if you guys want to hear more about MP Hood, about any other Crip set, the SOS Crips, anything, let me know. I might get into it. I might talk about it. It's not something that I know much about, but I do have supporters, subscribers that, you know what I'm saying, they hit me up, they rock with me, and they tell me certain things. So if they are comfortable enough to speak on certain things where they want it to be known, then I will definitely make a profile on the B's and the C's, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, so with that being said, that's all I got to say. I hope you guys liked it. If you guys did, hit that like button, leave a comment down under, subscribe if you haven't already, and as I always say, man, the goal is to make it out the hood, not stay in it. Much love to my brothers, and I'm out.